All right, the last two picks of the 2022 NFL Draft for the Chicago Bears are coming up: 254 and 255. Two picks in round 7 to round up the Bears draft. So let's see who Ryan Poles is finishing that draft with. I think in general it has been a pretty good one, but I will say something at the end of this video as soon as we know the picks for the Bears within a few seconds. I think wide receivers still in play. Justine Ross seems to be a guy that maybe goes undrafted, or the Bears draft him here. Let's see which direction they are headed into. And it has been such a fun experience this year to cover the draft for the first time on YouTube. It's been so much fun, and it's somewhat sad that it's ending with this video, but I will definitely get some draft content still afterwards, post-draft, some grading videos, and some other stuff I have in my mind. So definitely stay tuned for that. As the pick is Elijah Hicks from Cal, safety. All right, the Bears go secondary for the third time in this draft and go with Elijah Hicks. He's 5'10", 198, and I don't know a single bit about him. Let's find out who he is. But I mean, it's okay going safety. And Elijah Hicks seems to be the pick here at 254. But before we want to discuss these players, let's see who the player at 255 will be for the Bears. So then we know who the last pick eventually will be. The pick is already in, so it should be announced within a few seconds now. And it is Trenton Gill, punter from NC State. Let's go. Special teams appreciation by Ryan Poles and the Bears. They get a guy 6'4", 220 pounds, even though that doesn't matter too much for punters. I don't know anything about him, but I love that we got a punter with that last pick because it is a big need. Pat O'Donnell, our longtime punter, has chosen to go to Green Bay, or Poles was just letting him leave. So they decided to go punter here, Trenton Gill. But let's actually talk about Elijah Hicks first, safety from Cal. And yeah, let's see what he can bring to the table. I haven't seen anything of him yet. I haven't heard his name before, but let's see what some scouts say about him as we're learning about him on the fly as usual. You know how it is. The guy did not run a 40-yard dash, not a shuttle, not any vertical jump, broad jump, so I think he was not invited to the NFL Combine. I think I will definitely watch some film on him and see what we can get out of him. But first of all, let's talk about the position safety. They get a second safety in this draft. I think it's more of a long-term project player that could potentially be a backup in the future, but not a player with starting aspirations. I think he's mostly going to be a special teamer, which is super important as well. Look at Sherrick McManus, DeAndre Houston Carson. Those are players, safeties or cornerbacks, that made a career out of playing special teams. And if Elijah Hicks, a 7th round pick late in the 7th round, is a player that you get for a long time that can play special teams and is excellent in that area of the game, I think it's well worth a pick. We should not expect him to be the next super highly Pro Bowl, all-pro safety, obviously not, but I think he's a solid player. I don't know too much about him, like I said, but it seems like he has good instincts and anticipation. He is a tough competitor, has good awareness. I think it's just athletic ability that holds him back a bit. That's something I could think of. And also will slip off tackles and needs to finish more consistently. All right, so some tackling issues, it seems like, off of the scouting report. And a tough and scrappy player with a forceful nature. So it seems like a physical player that can miss on some tackles. But that's all we have on him. I think, like I said, he's mainly going to be a special teamer. And I think that's okay. That's not a bad thing to have good special team players. It seems like Justine Ross is about to go undrafted, or he has been picked, and I did not recognize that, but it seems like he will go undrafted. So there's still a lot of good UDFA wide receiver players available for the Bears to get, because we need still some more playmakers. I think Velus Jones Jr. is still a pretty good pick after thinking about it for some time. And still, we need some playmakers, and I think UDFA this year provides a lot of talent there. And lastly, the last pick, like we said before, was Trenton Gill, NC State punter. And like I said, I don't know anything about him, but just the fact that we got a punter is great. His strengths are he's a 3-year punter with sturdy frame. He has a adequate hang time with improvements likely, and display better touch after incorporating higher volume of nose drop punts. And I have to say, I'm not a punting expert. I don't know too much about it, but I know that hang time is super important in the modern day NFL, and it seems that he has a pretty good hang time and has the leg to improve in that area as well. So that's great. And I mean, I don't read too much into the weaknesses here. I just think it's a great thing to see that Ryan Poles is approaching a punter late in the draft, giving special teams some love. And this also means, I mean, he could have waited until UDFA to get that guy. He could have went receiver instead and pick Trenton Gill in UDFA, but he did not choose to do that, and that means he thinks pretty high of him. He wanted to secure that punter in that draft, and I like that pick. I think it's good that we addressed it, and I'm interested to see what he can bring to the Bears. Punters can change outcomes of the game, and I like this pick a lot. So that actually wraps up the 2022 NFL Draft. The Chicago Bears got a lot of great picks, from Kyler Gordon to Jaquan Brisker to Zachary Thomas to Dominique Robinson. Lots of offensive linemen, 4 have been picked, 3 defensive backs, Velus Jones Jr., a wide receiver, running back, punter. We got a lot of great players in this year's draft class, and I think I can say that already. I think Ryan Poles did an exceptional job as a rookie GM, and I'm excited how all of these players, and most of them are highly talented, high ceiling players, how they will turn out with the Bears, and it will be interesting. It has been surprising that Poles traded down this much and acquired that many picks, but that's great. We got a lot of new rookies to be excited about, and thank you guys for sticking with me through this series. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to check out all of the live reactions to the draft picks, like I said, I will give you guys a lot of content post-draft as well. And also, as soon as training camp starts, a lot of updates as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this last draft pick episode. Check out Instagram for the latest news. And as always, guys, bear down.